One of my favorite features of Lufia 2 that's kind of overlooked is the stat sheet at the end, or stat sheets. And really the one that interests me, of course, is the one about the ancient cave. It shows like number of battles, number of red chests found. And since the ancient cave is randomly generated, I always thought it would be interesting to see exactly how many red chests were in a run, or how many total battles. And I thought, well, what's the way I could figure that out? And so what I do is I use the last save state in the main quest, and warp to Gruberic. Having not been in the ancient cave yet in this playthrough, and you can see I've got no blue chest items here. And so what it would take is you would have to make it a successful run through in one try without escaping battle, because if you initiate a battle and then escape and then initiate again, it counts it as 2 battles. And so what I'm going to do then is, hopefully, I will have a successful trip through. And then once I do, I will start taping again. Alrighty, I'm back now with the second part of this 3-part series. And I've just made it through the ancient cave. And again, this is kind of trying to remind myself too, what I'm trying to do is make a complete run through the main quest with one complete trip through the ancient cave while beating every enemy. And normally I would use Trick here, but I didn't find Trick. And it went pretty well. At first, there's a couple times that I forgot I wasn't supposed to escape. Then, ooh, Evil Aura, that was good. Then, I had to skip about 3 blue mimics. And then there were a couple times where I purposely had to run from a couple metallic dragon fights because I would have died. So all in all, it'll be a pretty dead-on showing for how many red chests and battles are in a run. There was some interesting stuff, like I was dropped 3 Misto Jewels, which is the first time I think I've ever been dropped 3 Misto Jewels. And also, at one point, I accidentally equipped a cursed Berserk Blade on Guy. I was going to anyway, but I accidentally did it. And it actually had more attack power than a Gades Blade. Cool, beat him. And so it was more effective against metallic dragons than a Gades Blade. And really, up until about a month ago, I didn't realize that a cursed Berserk Blade was Dark Elemental. So what I'm going to do from here is warp back to that final save spot before you do the final run of ending bosses. And I guess that gives me a chance to rant. You know, this game would be so much more cool if all the enemies at the end of the game, or the final bosses, weren't all susceptible to the same element. I mean, you play this game the whole time looking for this dual blade. Then you get there, and what's more effective? Regular old silver sword. Doesn't seem right. So now I'll warp back to... is it Narvik? And I'll go through all this mess and through the final bosses, and then I'll be back. Okay, and here we are at the report screen. Sometimes I wonder if some people that complete the game even wait for it to go to the screen, because it takes a long time. After the game is over, you have the conversations and like an update on each of the characters. Then there's more music, then there's some other goofy thing. Then like the credits and to be continued, and finally you get to the report. And just never mind the play time, because I leave my game going when I take breaks. You see number of challenges, 1. That's how many times I went in the ancient cave. Number of battles, 565. I think that's actually higher than usual. Even though my experience level, or even though I had a lot of battles, my experience level was low, because I actually didn't get to face very many metallic dragons, and only 1 pair of goldies. And none of the last 20 floors were a treasure room, which you usually want to get just because of all the enemies that'll show up. You can really boost your experience. So I think I got to face more enemies than usual. You see number of defeats, 0, because I made it through on the first try. Blue treasure chest, 10. I'm not sure if I found 10 or if that includes some that were dropped. And red treasure chest, 386. That's slightly higher than usual. The average is about 360 to 370. And I don't know, I have no idea what number of masters bought means, but that's on there too. I think it would be neat if they had some other stats on there, like number of escapes, and maybe even like have a sub-menu of all your drops that you received. Maybe even a chart of all the red chests you receive. But that's just an example of what you'll find in a normal run-through of the ancient cave. I hope you found it informative.